Okay, so today we are working on ALE IDOCs. So what is ALE IDOC? ALE IDOC is a type of interface which is used to transfer data from SAP to SAP system or SAP to non-SAP systems. Okay, by using ALE IDOCs, we can exchange the data between SAP to SAP or SAP to non-SAP. Okay, so why we have two different SAP systems for a company, right? When you are working in the project, that is for a client, and they want to exchange data between two different SAP systems. In the first place, why they would have a two different SAP ERP systems for the same client? That is, when you take any MNC, they are going to operate in multiple countries, right? Each country has its own rules and regulations, tax rules and everything, right? So to follow all these rules and government mandatory regulations and their country specific policies, it is difficult to implement all of them in a single ERP system, which are common for all the countries, right? If there are major differences between one country policies to another country policies and the functionalities and the business process, what they are going to do, they'll use a separate ERP system for different country also, for different countries, right? One ERP for one country and a different ERP system for an entirely different server, right? Entirely different server for a different country, right? To maintain their business transactions. Okay, but sometimes these different systems may need to exchange the data between one system to another system. So whatever the sales orders created in ERP1 need to be updated to ERP2. So whatever the material master data created in ERP1 might need to share share it to ERP2, or whatever the data created in ERP2 we may need to share it with ERP1, because the company is same, but they are maintaining two different ERP systems for different countries, right? Now, what are the interface options available to connect two different SAP systems?
RFC.
Yeah, we have RFC.
Badly.
Yes, BAPI. Mm, we have BAPI,
BDC. BDC. BDC.
BDC. How can you exchange data using BDC? What is the concept of BDC? Data migration, uploading bulk data.
Yes, sir.
But here our scenario is real-time transfer. Whenever if I am creating a material in ERP1, that should be automatically updated to ERP2. But in BDC, you need to prepare a file and you need to upload that file, right?
Yes, sir.
And also BDC is for data migration, huge data migration. But here I'm talking about real-time data exchange. So whenever I've created one material record in ERP1, that should be updated to ERP2. RFC is one option available. So you can do RFC calls in ERP2. What are the other options? BAPI is available. And what is the other option available? File interface. You can create a file with the materials what you created today and post it into application server, and the ERP2 can pick that file and process it. But for this, they need a middleware tool to pick that file and send that file to ERP2, right? For BAPI calls, if you take BAPI and RFC, are they going to execute automatically? You need to call BAPI function module or RFC function module in a program, and you need to schedule in background for every 10 minutes or every 1 hour, so that that program will execute and it will pick all the newly created records in ERP1 to ERP2 whenever the program is executed, right? They are not going to transfer data automatically. You need to create a program and you need to call the BAPIs or RFCs, and you need to schedule that program in background. What are the transaction codes to create the background jobs?
SM36.
SM36, SM36.
Yeah, 36 is to
SM36
create, 37 is to monitor,
monitor.
right? Now, you have to schedule it in background, right? But when you take ALE IDOCs, they'll do immediate data transfer. Whenever you created a material in ERP1, a IDOC will be automatically triggered and it will post the data to ERP2, and no middleware required when both are SAP systems, because IDOC is form of document. It's a form of document which contains data. Okay, IDOC is a form of document. It contains the data and it contains receiver details. Who is the receiver for this document? Once the IDOC is triggered, that will be received by ERP2 and it will process the IDOC and post the data to SAP system. Okay. So IDOC is called intermediate document, which is understandable by only SAP ERP systems. Okay. Non-SAP systems cannot understand the IDOCs. For that, non-SAP systems, we may need to use middleware tools. We need to use middleware tools to select the IDOC from SAP ERP system, and we need to convert that IDOC data into third-party systems acceptable format. Okay, for that we need to use, for the data conversion, we need to use middleware tools. Okay, so if it is non-SAP system, what we need to do? For this, we can use IDOCs to exchange data between SAP to SAP system. So now which one is outbound and which one is inbound? So we have inbound IDOC and outbound IDOC. Here, source is ERP1, target is ERP2. Now tell me which one is inbound and which one is outbound.
ERP1 is outbound, 2 is inbound.
We call this as outbound IDOC, which carries data from ERP1 to ERP2. That is called outbound IDOC. And the data that is coming from ERP2 to ERP1, that is
Inbound.
inbound IDOC. Okay, outbound IDOC and inbound IDOC. These two terms are very important. Even in interviews also, if you say that you have experience in IDOC, they'll immediately ask which scenario you worked on. Is it inbound IDOC or outbound IDOC? Right? You need to find the difference. For example, this is our source system. This is the receiver. So when you send IDOC from source to receiver, that is a outbound IDOC. When you receive a IDOC from receiver to source, that is a inbound IDOC. Okay, clear? Is everyone clear on this?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
So, but how we need to identify that this is source ERP and receiver
Hmm.
ERP?
Right. So in your project, you are going to work on a system, right? For example, let's assume it has uh, DEV1, right? You are working in a system, ERP system, DEV1, that is a development system. That is your project system where you are implementing all your projects. And you have a scenario to transfer data from your DEV system to some receiver. They have given
Yes,
you some details. We have to send SAP data to this system. So that is the
mm,
receiver,
yes,
right?
sir.
What is your
Yes, sir.
current system?
That is development.
Development, for example, the system name is DEV1,
Mm,
right?
yes,
And they
mm,
want to send data to some DES1. DES1 is the other ERP system.
yes, sir.
That's not part of your project, but that's a different ERP system
Yes, sir.
which belongs to some different country. Maybe for the same client, the TRP system is operating in a different country. You need to share your current DEV1 data to DES1.
One. Mm,
Now DEV1 is the receiver, which is your current project ERP system, and DES1 is a different ERP system.
that is source.
That is the receiver. DES1 is the receiver. That is target.
Okay, okay,
Your
okay.
source is DEV1.
So in the system, whatever I am sending is that is source.
Sending is outbound.
Uh, to is the system it is receiving, it
If you
is
are
receiver.
receiving a IDOC from external systems, that might be any system. Forget about any system name.
Yeah, okay.
That might be DES1, DRS1, whatever the system it is. If you are receiving a IDOC from other systems to your current system, that is inbound IDOC. Okay?
Okay.
And you are sending
That is outbound.
outbound IDOC. Okay? You are receiving the IDOC, then we call that as an inbound IDOC. If you are sending the IDOC, then we call it as
Out,
outbound IDOC.
outbound.
Here we have one more thing. When you are sending one outbound IDOC, that may be for one system or multiple systems. You can also distribute it to multiple systems, the same IDOC. Okay,
Yes.
so you can distribute the same IDOC to multiple ERP systems, multiple receivers, depends on the scenario. Okay,
So at a time we can transfer it, sir.
transfer it to multiple SAP systems. Okay, we maintain that in distribution channel. Who is the receiver? Who is the sender? And who are the receivers? Okay, we can configure it.
Yes.
And inbound IDOC, you will receive from external system. That might be a non-SAP system or SAP system. Whatever the IDOC you receive from external system to the current system is inbound IDOC. And once you received the data, is it going to automatically create data in SAP? For example, the external system is sending material master data. So that the IDOC contains the data, right? Is it going to automatically created in SAP in Mara table or any material master relevant tables? Here, once the IDOC is received, there should be a functionality to execute and post the data to material master tables. For example, a BAPI should be executed, or we need to write some insert statements. For that, we should have a inbound program or inbound function module. For standard IDOCs, they are already available. You don't need to do any programming or any code. You just need to activate that IDOC, configure the IDOC, and execute. It will automatically transfer the data from one system to another system, right? For all the standard IDOCs, you don't need to do any coding or you don't need to write any logic. Just create the configuration and start using the IDOC. Okay. For example, the IDOC that is available for transfer the material master data is MATMAS. Okay. So the IDOC for material master data is MATMA. Similarly, we have standard IDOCs for different process. For sales orders, we have a standard IDOC. For purchase orders, we have a standard IDOC. For customer master data, we have a standard IDOC. I think it is CREMAS. For vendors, we have a standard IDOCs. I think it is DEBMAS or something. I don't remember exactly. Yeah, for many, for different business process, we have a standard IDOCs already provided by SAP, right? If you want to transfer that data which already having standard IDOCs, what you need to do? You need to configure it. You need to configure the receiver. So for example, you want to send material master data to ERP2. What you need to do? You need to configure the receiver. So to whom I need to send this material master data? Who is the receiver? You just need to configure it, right? What is the IDOC you need to send, and what is the who is the receiver? Just configure it. The data will be automatically transferred to the receiver. Okay? You don't need to write any code, right? When you need to write any code, for example, in material master data, you have enhanced two additional fields to Mara table, two additional custom fields to Mara table, right? Now you need to transfer that custom fields data also to the receiver. Then the standard IDOC is not going to support those two custom fields, right? Because standard IDOCs contains all the standard functionality. You have enhanced the custom process, the standard table Mara with two additional fields. And if you want to send those data, those two additional fields data also to the receiver, then what you need to do? You need to enhance the IDOC. You need to enhance the IDOC. What are the enhancement techniques available? By using customer exit or baddie, we can enhance the IDOC. No new concept here. To enhance the IDOC, what are the options available? Customer exits or
Baddies.
baddies. Okay. To populate those two additional fields, which we enhance to the material master data table, we need to use this enhancement options. Or the standard IDOC is not supporting our requirement. So whatever the standard IDOCs available provided by SAP is not supporting our business functionality to transfer data from one system to another system. Then what we need to use? We need to create a custom IDOC, our own custom IDOC. We are going to create our own custom IDOC. Then we need to create the custom IDOC and we need to write code, a program to generate the IDOC. If it is a standard IDOC, program will be automatically available. Program is already provided by SAP. SAP will provide IDOC and its corresponding business logic to generate the IDOC. If it is a standard IDOC, if it is a custom IDOC, we need to create the IDOC and we need to create the program to generate the IDOC. Okay, clear? Program nothing but it's not a new programming logic. It's kind of report program or a function module. Okay, you are already aware of it, right? How to create a report program and how to create a function module.
Yes, sir.
And do you know how to
So,
populate work areas and internal tables? Do you know or not? Do you know how to
yes,
populate
yes,
work areas and do you know how to
Yes,
add
yes, sir.
records to internal tables?
yes, sir, yes, sir.
Do you know how to pass work area records or internal table records to the function module? Do you know how to pass work area data or internal table data to the function module as inputs?
Yes,
You know that, right? By using importing parameters or tables parameters.
Yes, yes, sir.
yes,
Then
sir.
we are going to do the same here. We need to populate the work areas or internal tables and we need to pass it to one function module that will generate the IDOC when we are working on custom IDOCs. Okay. If it is a standard IDOC, just do the configuration. It will start generating the IDOCs. We don't need to write any code.
Okay, sir.
Only thing you
So,
need to do is you need to remember multiple transaction codes, maybe 10 or 12 transaction codes to create all these configurations. Okay, when it comes to standard IDOC. Okay, what is your question?
so where we need to go and check standard items.
Yeah, I'll show you. So how to
Yes.
find the standard IDOCs and how to create the configurations, I'll show you in the next session. Okay, but today you have to understand what are the different components of the IDOC. Okay,
Yes.
now, so when it comes to two different ERP systems, this is how it works. But sometimes we may need to receive data in the form of IDOCs from non-SAP systems, or you need to send data in the form of IDOCs to SAP systems. So why? So yeah. So when you need to share the data to different systems, why I need to use only IDOCs? Why I can't use any different interface technology? Because as I told you earlier, for RFCs or BAPIs, you should trigger the data. You should trigger the data, and once the data is processed, it is very difficult to track the data. So what is the data you transferred to the other system? It is very difficult to track once the data process is completed, right? And also it won't trigger automatically. You need to create a program and you need to transfer the data, right? For the BAPI process, even though a standard BAPI is available to share or to transfer the material data. What is a BAPI available for material data? I think BAPI underscore material underscore get detail to display, to transfer the data, to read the data. For this, you need to create a program and you need to call the BAPI to transfer the IDOC in the receiver side. Where you need to create that program? Is it in sender side or receiver side? When you are using BAPI to read the data from ERP1 to ERP2. Let's say there is a material master data in ERP1 and you need to read the material master data from ERP1 to ERP2. So now, in which system you need to create the program and call the BAPI? Is it in ERP1 or ERP2? The data is in ERP1 and you need to read the data to ERP2. So where you need to create a program for the BAPI call?
ERP tools.
ERP2.
ERP2.
In ERP2, you have to create that program so that the BAPI will be called and it will fetch the data from ERP1 to ERP2, right? But when you are using IDOCs, IDOCs are already available and provided by all the functionalities provided by SAP. You don't need to write any program or any code. Just configure it, configure the receiver. It will transfer the IDOC from source to the receiver and you can track the data. So every time it will generate one IDOC number. Every time when the IDOC is generated, it will generate a IDOC number. So that IDOC number contains, what does the IDOC number contains? Data, whatever you are transferring, and receiver details. Who is the receiver and the status? What is the status of the IDOC? Is it successfully posted to the receiver or is it failed anywhere? So the IDOC contains three different records. What are the three different records? Data record, status record, and control record. So what are the three different records available in IDOC? Data record,
The
status record,
status record.
and control record. So what is data record? Data record contains segments. What does a segment contains? Data. Segment is nothing but kind of structure. Okay, kind of structure which contains data. Okay, so how the data is carried in IDOC? In data is carried in data record in the form of segments. What is a segment? Segment is nothing but a collection of fields, group of fields. It is similar to structure. Okay, what is control record? Sender and receiver details will be available in control record. What is status record? Status of the IDOC, success or failure status of the IDOC. Here we have each status is represented with a number 0, 01, 02, 03, 12, 13. Like that, we have a specific number for each status. We have separate status number for inbound IDOCs. We have separate status number for outbound IDOC. Okay, we have sorry, we have separate set of numbers for inbound IDOCs and we have separate set of numbers for outbound IDOCs. Okay, so what does the IDOC contains? So IDOC contains three different records: data record, control record, and status record. What does the data record contains?
It is a segment. It contains a
Yeah, it
group of
contains
fields in the form of
segments. Segments are nothing but group of fields. It contains data. For example, MATMAS IDOC. If you take MATMAS IDOC, what does the MATMAS IDOC segments contains?
structure with group of fields.
Material master related fields. For example, MATNR, MAKTX, material text, all these kind of fields. MTART, MBRSH. All these fields we available in material master data IDOC segments. Okay. So what does the control record contains?
Sender and receiver.
Details of the sender and
Yeah, details of the
sender
sender and
and
receiver.
distance.
Who is the sender and who is the receiver, right? And what is the status record contains? Status of the IDOC. Is it successfully transferred to receiver, or is it successfully posted to receiver, or is it failed in between somewhere? right? If it is successfully transferred to receiver, it will be assigned with a separate status code. If it is successfully transferred and posted to SAP, created data in SAP, then it will contain a separate status code. Okay, transfer to SAP, transferring the data to receiver is different, and posting the data to receiver is different. Right, right. For example, uh, we generated IDOC number 100, and it is received to ERP2. That doesn't mean that it is created to SAP system, ERP2 system. It is just received in the form of IDOC. But when the data should be posted to SAP, there should be some program which should validate the received IDOC data and created data in SAP system. By using some inside that standard program, there might be some BAPI calls or any other data insertion mechanism. Then we can say that data is posted to SAP, right? Receiving is different, posting is different. Just received the IDOC doesn't mean that IDOC data is created in SAP. Okay, it might failed at the time of creating the data due to some validations when we receive some incorrect data from the sender. Okay, for example, source side, one IDOC is generated for material master data with some what is it? Uh, Industry sector as some mechanical engineering. That is M, right? Industry sector for mechanical engineering is M, right? So in MBRSH, from the sender side, they send M in the MBRSH field. But that data, that master data for mechanical engineering is not configured in ERP2. That mechanical engineering industry sector is not configured in ERP2. Where we need to configure that industry sector? Where we need to configure that industry sector? There should be a check table, right? Or master table, right? For each value. For industry sector also, there should be a check table, right? If that industry sector is not configured in the check table, what will happen? And when we are trying to post the data from IDOC, which contains industry sector M, is it going to accept that value? Is it going to accept that record in the receiver side? It's not going to accept because that industry sector is not configured in receiver side. Then IDOC will be fail to post the data in receiver side. But IDOC is received, but it is failed to post. Then it will contain a different status. For example, so industry sector master data is T137, right? For example, If that master data is not maintained in the system, in the receiver system, what will happen? That IDOC record will be failed to post because that master data value is not available. Then it will create the one IDOC status. By checking that IDOC status, we can observe, okay, this IDOC is received by the receiver. This IDOC is received for the ERP2 system, but it is failed to create the data in ERP2 system due to some data issue. Then we have to check that IDOC and we can fix the error. Now, how to check the IDOCs? How to monitor the IDOCs? I'll show you. For that, we have a transaction code WE05. Here you can monitor all the IDOCs. That is the advantage of IDOCs than BAPIs and RFCs. You have a monitoring feature available. You can monitor the IDOCs and what is the data that carries. Let me change the dates to some previous date. I am not sure whether someone generated the IDOCs today or not. Yep. So this is the IDOC monitoring screen. What is the transaction code? What is the transaction code?
WE05.
WE05 is the transaction code to check the IDOC status, right? MatMass. If you select this, it will display the IDOCs only generated for MatMass data. MatMass is for material master data. Orders, I think it's for sales orders. INVCon, I think it is for invoice data. I think this bill of material something. Bank create. This is to create the bank master data. These are inbound IDOCs. These are inbound IDOCs received from other systems. MatMass, material data is received from other systems. Outbound IDOCs means which we transferred to different systems, other systems. Okay. Now select one IDOC, go to one IDOC number. So this is one IDOC number 137 204 137. What is the status? What is the status?
Number
Status
3.
is 03. So what is the status text? Data passed to port OK. That means data is successfully transferred, but we are not sure whether it is successfully posted in the receiver or not. 3 means it is successfully transferred to the receiver. So successfully sent from our side. We are not sure it is successfully received or posted to receiver or not. Okay. It's like in WhatsApp, you can see a single tick, right? When you send a message, that means from your side, it is transferred, message is transferred, but still it is not received by the receiver, right? Then you can see single tick. When you see double tick, when your message is received by the receiver, right? You can see the double tick. So this status also similar things. By using this status, you can identify is it successfully posted or not. What is 3 means? 3 is a outbound IDOC status. This is used to indicate that, okay, data is transferred successfully from sender side, right? Once it is successfully posted in the receiver side, the status should be different. Okay. If you take this, IDOC was edited. Original IDOC was edited. Let me open one IDOC. Double click. Now, what is the data available in IDOC? See this.
Record.
Each IDOC contains one control record. What does the control record contains?
Group of fields.
Partner. Observe this. Receiver. Who is the receiver and who is the sender? What does the control record contains? Who is the receiver and who is the sender? What is the data we are sending? Partner number nothing but the receiver system. Okay. What is partner number means? This is logical name, system name of the receiver system. DS4. DS4 means That might be the system name, EWM. That might be EWM system, client number 800. So this is the receiver. DS4 is the receiver system. Okay, clear? So control record contains that information. Who is the receiver and who is the sender? Partner nothing but the receiver and the sender. Sender is S for SAP A4H, the current system. Okay, and I'll explain what is logical system and what is partner and everything. For example, for now, assume that partner nothing but partner identify the systems. Okay, that might be a receiver system or sender system. Okay, by using partners, we can identify the systems. Okay, who is the receiver and who is the sender? Here, the partner is DS4, that is receiver system, recipient information. This is the receiver. That is control record. What is data record? I told you, right? Data record contains segments. This is a segment. What does this segment contains? Matner ERSDA, created date, created by, changed by, MTART, MBRSH, MEINS. These are all fields of material master data, right? MARA table, right? Yes or no?
Yes.
So segments contains fields, material master data fields. If it is a material master IDOC, it's a MATMAS is material master IDOC, right? That's why it contains the segments with material master data. You can also expand it and check the other fields. One segment might have child segments. This is the parent segment and it can contain the child segments with other fields data. KTM, these segments MA KTM, what does it contains? Material text and the language, right? For material text, the segment is MA KTM. MARMM, this contains different fields, right? What is the parent segment here? This one, E1 MARAM. These are all the child segments. Okay. Since it is a standard IDOC, all these segments and everything are already available. But if it is a custom IDOC, we need to create the segments and we need to create the IDOC. Okay, we need to assign the segments to the IDOC. So in the next session, we'll see how we do that step by step. So each IDOC contains three records: control record, which contains sender and receiver information; data record, which contains the data which we need to transfer; and the status record. Status record contains the status of the IDOC. What is the status of the IDOC? First status, IDOC is created. Next status, IDOC is ready to dispatch. It's ready to dispatch. 03, next status, IDOC is dispatched. From sender side, it is dispatched and we are not sure about the receiver side. Okay, clear? So these are all the status records generated for this IDOC. First status generated is IDOC created. Once the IDOC is created, dispatched, and then it is dispatched to the receiver, ready for dispatch. Next status is, second status is ready for dispatch. The next status is dispatched from the sender. Once it is received in the receiver side, we might have a different status, 12. It is received by the receiver. Okay. By using this most recent status, so what is the most recent status for this IDOC here? Current
June 3.
status. You can also call current status 3. What is the IDOC status? It is success or failed. It is in success status. It is successfully sent from the sender. It is successfully dispatched from the sender side. If there is error or issues, that should be handled from receiver side. Okay, IDOC is dispatched successfully from sender side. The next step is it should be processed in receiver side. Clear? Similarly, we have different standard IDOCs. These are all the standard IDOCs. This one is failed, error in ALV server. So looks like it is failed in the sender side. It did not generate the, it generated the IDOC, but it is failed to dispatch from sender side. IDOC is created, but did not dispatched from the sender side. The issue is in the receiver, sorry, in the sender. Where is the issue now? For current status 29, what is the issue here? IDOC is generated, but it did not dispatched. So now issue is in sender side. You have to fix the issue in sender side. Okay. Once the IDOC is successfully dispatched, that should be handled in the receiver side if there is any issue. Okay. So for example, these are invoice data, right? Double click on one IDOC. Control record contains the receiver information, sender and receiver information, and data record contains segments with some data. Plant, material type. So these are all the data related to that invoice. Okay. Similarly, each IDOC contains its own segments with the relevant fields. Okay. For example, if it is an inbound IDOC, right, we received from external systems. We received from external system. What is the status of this IDOC? 51. What is the status of the IDOC? Application document not posted. Bank key is longer than 90 characters. Bank key is longer than 90 characters. What is the error here? Whatever the data we received from the system, from the receiver or from the external system, there is a issue with the data. That is, looks like, not 90 characters, 9 characters. Bank key is longer than 9 characters. There is a validation in the receiver side. Now, who is the receiver? Now, what is the receiver system now? This is the receiver. In terms of out inbound IDOC, what is the receiver? Our current
Source
system is the
system.
receiver. Source system is the receiver, right? When we are talking about inbound scenario, looks like there is a data issue in the IDOC. So it is saying that bank key should not be more than 9 characters. So there is a data issue here, right? What is the error with this IDOC? When you click on this, same error. Bank key should not be more than 9 characters. Next IDOC, that is also same error. Check this IDOC. This is successfully posted. Application document is successfully posted. Check this. 53. Status is 53. So application document posted. That means that bank master data is created in a receiver side. Receiver is our current system. Check the data. Double click on this. Control record contains the receiver. Who is the sender? Looks like they are sending from which system? RED CLNT 181. Sorry, this is our current system, S4A4H. Recipient is our current system. Who is the sender? Sender is this one, TFRP. This is the system which sends the IDOC. Okay. Now check the data records, segments to check the data. Bank country, Canada, I think CA. Bank key, this is the bank key, and this is the bank address. Canadian Imperial Bank. This is the city and this is the bank number. Status record contains all the status. This is the started status for this is it status for inbound IDOCs. These are the status for inbound IDOC. IDOC added. So IDOC is received. IDOC is ready to pass, what is it? Ready to pass to application. Application nothing but standard program which creates the data in SAP by using the data of IDOC. Okay. So what is the job of IDOC? Just to transfer data from one system to another system. The application program inside that current system will actually create the data inside SAP. IDOC ready to pass to application, status 54. What is status 62? IDOC passed to application. That means whatever the IDOC data that is presented to the program and the data posted to SAP, application document posted. That means the data is created. So what is the BAPI they have used here? They are calling some BAPI to create the data. What is a BAPI? BAPI create was called. So there is some BAPI used to create the bank data, right? So these are the status for inbound IDOCs. Now let's check the failed IDOC, which is failed. Double click on this. So it contains the bank data, bank key. How many characters? Four, it's 9 characters only. I think it's eight characters. What is the status? IDOC created by test transaction. I think, okay, this is a different scenario. Let me check this. So IDOC added, IDOC ready to pass it to application. IDOC pass it to application, application document not posted. Why it is not posted? Because of this error. Whatever the BAPI they are using, there is a validation inside the BAPI and that refused to process this IDOC due to data issue. What is the data issue here? They are accepting only bank key less than or equal to 9 characters. But this is more than 9 characters, right? So the BAPI raised a error when creating the bank data. Okay, clear? So this is how we can check the status of the IDOC. You can also select the direction here in W05 screen. When you open it to check the IDOCs already processed, you can also select the direction. One means outbound, two means inbound. If you select outbound, you can see only the IDOCs which are processed in the given time. Okay. So these are only outbound IDOCs. If you select the direction 2, that is for inbound IDOC. You can also filter the IDOCs by IDOC names. Okay, clear? So that's about the IDOC records, data record, control record, and status record. So each IDOC or each inbound IDOC or outbound IDOC contains separate status codes. We'll see each status codes. Now, what is IDOC? IDOC is intermediate document used to carry the data, which contains 3 different records. They are data record, control record, and status record. Data records contain segments. Okay, clear? What is the transaction code? WE05 or 02. You can also use 02. So W05 is to monitor the IDOCs. Okay. I'll show you one more scenario. As of now, we worked on only SAP to SAP scenario, right? Let's see one more scenario. That is SAP to non-SAP scenario or non-SAP to SAP scenario. So this is the sender. This is the receiver. Let's assume this as non-SAP system and this is a SAP ERP system. For example, one ERP one. Now, since we are already having standard IDOCs to transfer the business data from SAP ERP to other systems, we can just activate the IDOC and we can just do the configuration and we can send the IDOC. We don't need to write any program, right, to transfer the data from SAP ERP to other systems, since we have standard IDOCs are already available. Let's assume in this scenario also we are transferring material master data. Do I need to create any program for this to transfer the material master data? Do I need to create any program
Yes,
to
sir.
send material master data from SAP ERP1 to other systems? No, because standard IDOC is already there. Why I need to create a program and why I need to write the logic? Standard functionality is already available. I just need to configure it. I just need to configure the receiver details. Now, but what is IDOC? IDOC is intermediate document, the format which is understandable for only SAP systems. Can a non-SAP system understand what is IDOC?
No, sir.
No, they cannot understand what is IDOC. Then what we need to do? To transfer the data, we use a middleware tool. What does a middleware tool do? It will convert the data into one format to another format. Okay. So what does the middleware tools will do? What does the middleware tools will do?
It will convert the data from one format to
It will transfer or it will
that.
convert the data from one format to another format. Middleware tools like SAP PI. We have different middleware tools like CPI Cloud Platform Integration or TIBCO. TIBCO is also a middleware tool, right? So for SAP, we have SAP PI or SAP CPI. CPI is also there. Cloud Platform Integration. This is a recent version of the middleware tool. So by using any of these middleware tools, so we are going to convert IDOCs into, so that middleware tool will receive the IDOC and it will convert that IDOC into non-SAP systems understandable format. For example, that might be a file, that might be a web service, that might be any other JDBC, right? Database connectivity or any other things. So non-SAP system can also send the data in the form of file or web service. This data will be converted by middleware into a IDOC. Middleware will convert the data into receiver data into IDOC. Okay, because SAP can understand IDOCs and the standard functionality is already available. When we are receiving one IDOC, do we need to write any program to post that IDOC to SAP system? For example, the non-SAP system is sending material master data to SAP ERP1. Do we need to write any code in ERP side to post that IDOC data into SAP? Not required. Just activate the IDOC, create the configuration. The IDOC itself automatically posts the data to SAP system because the standard logic is already there, right? You don't need to write any code in terms of outbound or in terms of inbound when it comes to standard IDOC. To generate the IDOC, you don't need to create any program, or to receive the IDOC from external systems, You don't need to write any program when it comes to standard IDOC. Okay, just create the configuration. That's it. Okay, now it will send the data in the form of IDOC and it will receive the data in the form of IDOC. This one, and the middleware tool converts the data into, that might be anything. For example, file or some web service or some JDBC connection or whatever. Okay, it applies to both sending and receiver. That non-SAP system will send the data in the form of file or web service, and the middleware tool convert that into IDOC and sends it to SAP ERP system, and the data will be posted to SAP automatically without writing any code, because standard message type standard IDOC is already available for material master data, right? In terms of receiving, we need to configure the inbound configuration. We need to do the inbound configuration to receive the data from external systems. What is the configuration we need to create? Inbound configuration for that message or for that data. To send the IDOC, what is the configuration we need to create?
outbound.
Outbound configuration we need to create. Okay, just need to create the configuration if it is a standard IDOC for receiving or for sending. Is everyone clear on this? Is everyone clear on this?
Yes.
What is ALE? Application linking and enabling. What is ALE? What is ALE means? Application linking and enabling. So this is to distribute data from different system. This is a technology. ALE is a technology. So IDOC is a component in that technology. Okay. So IDOCs follows which technology? IDOCs uses which technology to transfer the data? ALE, application linking and enabling. Okay. So IDOCs follows ALE technology to transfer data from one system to another system. Clear? So this ALE technology is used to distribute data across the different systems in the landscape. Okay. When the data is created in one system and you need to copy the same data to different systems, you can use this ALE technology. By using IDOCs, we can transfer the data from one system to another system. Okay. Clear? Is everyone clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So when you need to share or when you need to sync the data created in one system with the different systems, we can use IDOCs. IDOCs is the one of the available interface technology. Okay. The preferable technology, whenever the standard IDOC is available, we go for IDOCs only. So in these recent days, in these recent S4HANA versions and the recent days, if the standard IDOC is available, we are using it. And if there is any specific requirement which we need to generate only IDOCs, we're going to use it. Otherwise, we are preferring proxy programming to transfer the data from one system to another system. Okay. So if you need, instead of creating a custom IDOC development, So in some projects, they prefer proxy programming, ABAP proxies, because they are lightweight than IDOCs. Okay, they transfer very quickly and very easy to transfer the data. But if there is a standard IDOC available for the functionality, so why we should create the custom functionality by spending more time on it? And we need to implement many validations and business logic, right? So we'll just use a standard IDOC by configuring it. We don't need to write single piece of code until unless there is some enhancement required. If you want to enhance some additional fields, okay? How to do IDOC enhancements? First, we need to add additional data to which one? Additional fields to which one? Segments. First, we need to add those additional fields, additional custom fields to the segment. And then to populate the segments, what we need to do? To populate the additional fields of the segments, what we need to do? We need to create a customer exit or a baddie enhancement to populate those additional fields of the segments. That is IDOC enhancement. Okay, clear? Is everyone clear?
Yes.
It is very easy since you are already aware of how to write programs. So here you need to remember few bunch of transaction codes for configurations. Okay, and you need to follow some steps, step by step process. First, you need to create the segments and you need to attach that segments to message, and you need to create the configuration for receiver and sender details, right? And then you can generate the IDOCs if it is a custom IDOC. But if it is a standard IDOC, all the objects are already available, including segments, messages, and everything. You just need to create the configuration for receiver to whom we need to send this IDOC. You need to configure that. Okay. So in the next session, we'll see how to create the configuration for the standard IDOCs and also and how to create a custom IDOC and enhancing the standard IDOC. We may not be able to cover all these three things in a single session, but we might need two sessions to cover IDOC enhancements and custom IDOCs. Okay, and there are different tools available to test the IDOC, to regenerate the IDOC, to reprocess the failed IDOCs. We need to see all of them. Okay, there are few projects like the ABAP consultants are going to work only on IDOCs, monitoring the IDOCs and fixing the errors. Mostly they are older ECC systems which are currently running, right? But in the new S4 HANA versions, we are having different interface technologies, not only IDOCs. Okay.